and so they're trying to get really deep and heavy and dark and violent. But at the same time, I'm looking at some of the very cartoonish production on this, and it starts to feel like this show right here.
Do what you want, cause a pirate is free. You are a pirate. Your heart being a pirate is a recipe. Do what you want.
Like, I ain't saying it's got that budget right there, but it got a little Lazy Town feel to it, man. Double Toasted on Broadway. The great musical that everybody's been waiting on. No, actually, we're going to replace that poster right there. We're only saying that because we're going to be at the Broadway Comedy Club September 29th for a night of comedy. It's going to be all our shows have a big emphasis on comedy, but this one even more so. We're going to be at the Broadway Comedy Club September 9th. Going to be in the Red Room. The show is at 10 p.m. That's a Friday. Tickets are $25, and it is very limited space. I think we're going to have about 50 seats available in there, and we want to fill those seats because we want to make this a regular thing. It's an intimate show. I'm going to be coming out and talking to the audience and doing a little, I guess you could say a little stand-up in a way, but it's going to be, just a little comedy, a little different from what we do. And then we'll bring Oz out, and then we'll do a little more traditional double toasted stuff. And then we're going to probably have some people come up and do some comedy on their own, do a little open mic night, and let the crowd, the audience, judge how you do. So if we can make this a regular thing, we'll try to do it every other month, and we'll be in New York every other month, hopefully at the Broadway Comedy Club. That's if we can actually fill the room. So come on out and get your tickets. Starting back in 1997, that's the humble origins of, and the humble beginning of a little pirate,
Jesus Christ.
a little pirate manga called One Piece. And that was back in, let me see here. Yeah, back in 97, man. This thing has gotten so popular. I dare say that One Piece is probably the most popular manga of all time at this point right now. It's set, and you can go on Wikipedia and find this all out. One Piece set the Guinness World Record for the most copies published for the same comic book series by a single author. And that still holds up today. And it's also the best-selling manga for 11 consecutive years. That's from 2008 to 2018. And it's the only manga that's had an initial print of volumes of about 3 million continuously sold for more than 10 years. That's a whole, shit, that ain't no One Piece no more. That's a whole lot of pieces right there, man. It's a whole lot of money right there, man.
That's a lot of years to chase down the One Piece.
The One Piece. And something that's successful, look, just putting the manga out in Japan, they're going to make an anime out of it. That's what they do. They're going to animate the hell out them pictures, man. Mm-hmm. So, it was, obviously, they were going to make an several movies and of extremely long-running series for the manga One Piece.
Wealth, fame, power. Gold Roger, the king of the pirates, attained this and everything else the world had to offer. This is the time known as the Great Pirate Era. Come aboard and
boy. Yeah, man, he took his cocaine and said, I'm ready to find that treasure. That is, of course, the lead character, Luffy.
Monkey D. Luffy.
Monkey D. Luffy. Some of you just heard about One Piece. You probably heard your kids talking about it, or maybe you've heard a friend talk about it, maybe not in the anime, and you knew of it a little bit, and now it's becoming more popular, and you're saying, all right, what is it about this One Piece? I think I'm gonna go ahead and get into it and find out what all the hubbub is about. Don't you do that. Don't you dare even try. Don't, I'm telling y'all right now, don't even try. You too late. You way too late. That ship has already sailed for—
No pun intended.
No, a pun very much intended. That shit has sailed for about 20 seasons. We are talking about over 1,000 episodes.
Right.
You ain't gonna do this, all right?
Well, you ain't gonna catch up. You can still jump in early and enjoy it.
No, well, that's the thing. You're gonna get in here and be like, what the f is going on? You're not gonna know what's happening. I'm telling you right now, people tell you, you can do anything you want to do. You can do anything you want to do, but catch up on One Piece. That's just not gonna, you're not gonna do it in your lifetime. But lucky for you, Netflix has come in and they went ahead and they started it all over from the very beginning in a live action series. So I would say don't worry about the anime right now. Go ahead and jump on this Netflix series right here, which will get you all caught up. And if you want to continue from there, then you have the choice to do that while totally understanding what is going on. I will you, because this thing is insane. And by the way, do you want to actually jump in at this moment? I mean, the anime is one thing, it's been proven to be a big hit, and you might not even be an anime. So you know what, that might not be your thing. So this right here, you might want to totally avoid it. Which one are you going to do? Let's go ahead. Well, it depends on whether you trust our opinions or not. Like we don't. So we're going to do the exact opposite of what you trust. But hey, just in case you listen to us, we're going to do this review right here and tell you exactly what we think of it. Might even confuse you more because who knows what we think, man. We don't always agree on these things.
We haven't even discussed this.
We have not even discussed this yet, but that's exactly what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer for the live action version of One Piece on Netflix, and we will be back. Now, I saw all 8 episodes of this. It's 8 episodes, about an hour long. How many did you see?
I saw 3.
3. All right, then. Well, just listen to me then. Can't trust this man. No, or can you? Can you get out of 3 episodes what you need? We'll tell you right after this.
I'm gonna find the One Piece. That went pretty well.
Just in case you're looking at this, like I said, this is crazy. So you're probably being like, all right, I don't know, still don't know what the hell is going on with this. Well, this story, which in the manga, as I said, has spanned over millions of copies of comics and 20 years of a series, thousands of episodes. It's a lot of One Piece right there. But basically the story is the greatest and most notorious pirate has finally been caught and executed. But his last words were to the people out there. He said, listen, I've been caught, but my treasure is still out there. The greatest treasure of all, the One Piece. And you know what? These asshole Marines over here, the ones who hate pirates and are trying to stop them, as they say they're a scourge and they want to make them pretty much extinct. Bring order to the land. He said, listen, don't listen to these assholes right here. Y'all go out there, get your pirate on, and go find that treasure and do it in the biggest droves that you can so that you can outnumber these bitches right here. All right, I'm ready to die. Meanwhile, there's a riot out there. People going to look for this treasure, starting the new age of pirates. Of course, most of these pirates are not such good people. But there's one person out there who says, I'm going to be a different kind of pirate, and that is Monkey D. Luffy. Monkey D. Luffy said, not only am I going to be the greatest pirate, but I'm going to be the nicest pirate. And of course, that happens when I'm also respected as the king of all the pirates out there. But before he can go find that treasure, he has to get himself a crew, because all pirates need that. And it's going to be hard to be one of the kindest and nicest pirates out there when you have a criminal, an assassin,
bounty hunter,
a bounty hunter, and just overall kind of dipshit. You got a liar on your team. Somebody can't tell the truth. One person doesn't even want to fight. One person just wants to cook. Yeah, when you get all these people on your team, just pretty much
a ragtag group of motley individuals.
Yes. So just a bunch of misfits. You get those together. It's going to make it even harder to find what they call the One Piece. It's a lot of stuff that goes into this, and I'm talking about for the first episode. I'm not talking about the history of it. There is a lot that goes. This thing is very front-loaded. First of all, it comes in with its own lore, comes in with its own backstory, comes in with already a lot of characters. A lot of characters have their own backgrounds. So I would say first and foremost, if I really had to recommend this for anybody, I would say it's for the fans. The fans, because when it gets crazy, and that's immediately, because the moment, I'm talking about, about 5 minutes in, we got Luffy talking to a bird dressed up like a mailman. And some people gonna be like, all right, what the going on here now? What's happening?
I don't notice so much that first episode is solely for the fans.
Really?
Yeah, because as someone who's not a fan,
let me just say this. I would say that for as wild as this gets, the fans will already have some context from the manga and from the anime of what's happening with this. But you say for the first episode, you don't think it's that wild?
Yeah, no, I didn't because I hadn't watched any of the anime, and it always sounded like whenever somebody described it to me, I was like, please stop. And then watching this first episode, I was like, you know what? You're right. It is front loaded. There's a lot you got to pick up on, but I was like, it's got a cohesive aesthetic. All right, I can follow it. I'm with it. It's kind of fun. It more fun than I thought. But by the time you get to the second episode, that's when I was like, okay, now the craziness is starting to leak in everywhere. Where I was like, y'all are pushing it.
Yeah, well, see, I think, and I'm not saying that you can't follow the story. That's not what I'm saying at all. When I say crazy, I'm talking about, as you say, the aesthetic of it. I'm not talking about you can't follow what's happening. I'm talking about it is very, very, very anime. It is very anime. It's over the top, outlandish characters that you have here. They all have these exaggerated features. You got the cheesy dialogue. You got the characters who are monologuing. And by the way, when people in anime monologue, they usually want to be, I'm going to be the best blank, blank, blank ever. I'm going to be the best swordsman ever. I'm going to be king of the pirates. I'm going to be the best pirate. And because it's anime, they talk as loud as they can.
That's true. And the only thing worse than them doing that is their inner monologue when they're in the middle of a fight.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of the fighting in here, man, very anime type fights that go on. People get kicked, they go sliding back. Sometimes they go in sliding forward with an attack. There's a lot of sword play. With giant swords that are bigger than the person who's handling it. People with weapons and appendages for limbs and hands. What I'm saying is, with this being an anime adaptation, the show has gone. Now, let me just say this: the show has gone to great lengths to adapt all those anime elements. And the results are wild, man. The thing is, if you dropped acid and then watch Pirates of the Caribbean, this is probably what you're gonna get right here. Or if somebody decides to remake Pirates of the Caribbean, but do it in Scott Pilgrim style.
Yes. Oh, that's a perfect analogy.
Yeah. That's what you would get right here, man. I say this because this could have mixed results for people because that kind of exaggerated style is not going to, I'm just saying this, and I might be wrong, but I feel like it's something that it's not going to be for everybody. Now, whether I feel that way or not, I'll say that in a little bit. But, for some people, it could have mixed results. Also, the pirates have superpowers, and some of those powers are, they could be perceived as silly. You got Luffy who can stretch. I'm not going to tell you how they get their powers, but Luffy can stretch, and you got another pirate with some superpowers who he can take his limbs off, and they have a nice clean cut at the tip of them and everything.
It is funny how you start out with like, oh, well, this is about a kid with superpowers. But as you go, you're like, well, goddamn, everybody's got superpowers.
Oh, yeah. And they explain it. There's a reason why.
Yeah,
there's a reason why. And listen, I'm not even saying that's a bad thing. Like I said, you got these powers are ridiculous. One person can Looney Tunes stretch. Another person separates his body like an action figure. It kind of looks almost like Suicide Squad or something for some of these characters.
Yeah.
And and there's moments that they take liberties with with some of these elements with these anime characters. Some of it's very faithful. Some of it is not. But I will say the attention to detail, whether you like it or not, that depends on your taste. For me, if you're going to adapt an anime for fans out there, then give the fans what they want and adapt it as much as you can where it makes sense. I think that the attention to detail in this is amazing. I think the casting on some of the characters is great. And I say that because I'm looking at some of the casting here, and the attention to detail on the casting of the characters and the costumes and the makeup on the characters is pretty cool. This is a character called Mizak. And also there's another character, Arlog, who's a fish man. And they have, and we'll talk about these characters more and what they do, like with the Fishman. They have their own story about being second-class citizens and whatnot. But I thought I thought they did extremely well capturing these outlandish characters, and I think that is something that this is one of the reasons why this is so appeasing to the fans out there, and it helps that they had a nice budget to do it because not only the characters, this whole world is just wild. We're talking about Hey, listen, you know if you got crazy characters and pirates like this, you got to throw in some sea monsters too.
Hell yeah, you do.
And sea monsters are a big part of the anime. You know, if you watch the anime, you can see where, you know, even the intro, they got the sea creatures there like this.
Oh my knee, bird.
And they got the budget to do that right for live action. You say? Talking about me?
I wasn't talking to you.
Get lost.
You have to be a dick about it.
I'm leaving, but not because you said.
Yeah, man. I thought as far if you just want to go by the look, it's very, very well done. I don't know. Did you think that?
I did. It's fun because when they kept showing previews for it, it looked like it was cheap as shit. And I was like, what are y'all doing? You're going to get slaughtered putting something like this out. And then to watch it, it's like, oh, it doesn't look cheap at all. They really spent the money on it. And you're right. There's an attention to detail. But more than that, it feels, like I said, a cohesive world. Like, it's on me. If I don't like it, there's the door. Leave.
Yeah.
But to stick around, it's like, all right, well then just go with it. It's some is going to be outlandish, but they never shied away from that. It's not like they just suddenly dropped it. They're just from early on, it's there. I do think it's a bit more gradual with the first episode, because with the first episode, I was like, this is a rousing pirate adventure. I don't even like pirates, but this is kind of fun.
Yeah.
And they got these characters here. And then by the time you get to the second episode, you're like, oh, so the wild supernatural characters are they're starting to pour them in now. This is going to be the thing. I see now. They kind of tricked me at first to get me in here, but it's cool. I gotta say that I did go and watch the first episode of the anime just to have something to compare it to.
Yeah,
and I think they've done a good job of making this human scale. Like for everything that seems outlandish and crazy, you watch the anime and you go like, oh, it's way more over there.
Oh yeah,
they made this palatable to people outside of the super fans.
No, they did, and that's why I say if you know nothing about this, it gets it doesn't just get wilder. It gets more cartoonish as you go along, and I'll tell you where that could be. I won't say a bad thing, but that could be a criticism. For one, some of the performances in this are, for some people, if you don't know about this, if it's your first time going into this, it could be, some of these performances could be too theatrical. They could be just downright cartoonish. For some people, it might be bad. I'm not saying that for myself. But I will say this, whether that's a bad thing for you or not, because I've seen, I did go back and watch, because it came on after I watched this. I watched the first episode, but I've watched One Piece off and on, at night when it's come on Adult Swim.
Yeah.
I saw a One Piece movie that came out not too long ago.
And you said you didn't understand any of it.
No, I did not at all. But we're talking about after thousands of episodes.
Yeah.
But I will say, I know enough to know that they are being true to the character. Like Luffy, who's played by Iñaki Godoy, he's a Mexican actor.
Yeah.
Now, I've heard some people say that they thought, wow, Jesus, this guy is, he's way over the top for me. But
not compared to the anime, he's not.
Well, that's the thing. People saying he's over the top. Oh, this character is just all over the place. He's very goofy, too goofy for me, too goofy in his optimism. Sure, y'all can understand if you say that and you know nothing about this, but that's the way that character is in the anime. That character is even more.
Honestly, the character in the anime, like when I watching that early One Piece, I was like, yeah, this is why I don't watch anime that much, because you got a main character, big eyes, yelling all the time. Yeah, he's optimistic, but he's too much. I'm like, man, Luffy, I can't hang with you, man. You getting on my nerves. But the way Iñaki plays him, it's like, it's not so much just loud optimism. He's got self-confidence.
Yeah.
And it's an infectious self-confidence. Because at first I was like, all right, it's a bit much. But the more it went on, I was like, man, I just want to hang with this guy. Because no matter what happens, he keeps his spirits up and he's just confident.
No, I actually like the way the character played him. And like I said, if you think that that character is goofing over the top. That anime version, he stays tweaking.
Yes, tweaking.
His eyes are constantly big. He's always on that meth and cocaine. He's always at 11, 12, and 13. That character right there. And again, there's nothing wrong with that because it's an anime.
It's an anime, yeah.
But I think that they adapted it perfectly.
I think so too.
And I really like this guy, man. Again, his name is Iñaki Godoy. I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah.
And I enjoy watching him, and I think it's because of something you said, because of his optimism, and his confidence.
Yeah.
And it's just, and you're right, his confidence is infectious, man. You believe in him.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way they went from that goofy son of a bitch to y'all better watch out for him. Y'all better watch him. Hey, look, don't
sleep on Luffy.
Don't catch him wrong. He'll whoop your ass.
Right.
I know he look crazy, but don't go creeping up on his ass. Then you go get the drop on him.
He'll keep smiling, being nice until you do one of two things.
And he'll beat your ass smiling like that.
Yep.
He'll put that gum ass whooping on you, and you won't know where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Damn, he was such a nice boy too. He beat the out of me.
But he was nice again after that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that character, man. And like I said, that I like both characters. I think this character is appropriate for the anime, but this character right here.
I just watching anime, it just feels like it skews younger.
Yeah. Until you get to like some of the world building, man, they actually get into some deeper things.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, I mean it's still anime. You know, so
well, I like my daughters will watch the different anime series.
Yeah,
Hunter x Hunter and Naruto, and they all kind of do the same thing.
Yeah,
I mean not that they don't have some deep episodes, but it's a lot of fighting and monologuing and talking real loud. And the story beats are all the same in all of these.
So you kind of do have to temper the character down a little bit.
Yeah.
And like I say, he's not as frantic as he is confident and optimistic. It's a hard quality to get. That's why some people need better help, man, to get to that level where they can be confident.
Do they have the Luffy package? Because I'll get that.
Man, if you want to be confident like Luffy, get yourself some better help. Thing is, man, a lot of people are not that confident. A lot of people are staying up at night, they can't sleep, their head is just spinning all night. Yeah. I do that. And you'd be surprised, especially these days. I have trouble sleeping sometimes. And a lot of times it helps to just get that all out. Whatever's in your head, talk to somebody. And this portion of the show has been brought to you by BetterHelp.com. And BetterHelp is a place where you can go in and get online therapy. And a lot of people think about online therapy and they think like, people think about therapy, period. And they think, it has to be for like severe things. I gotta be mentally ill, I gotta be suicidal. I gotta have 10 personalities in my head or something. No, you don't. Oh man, it's just sometimes just good to get out what is in your head. That's why you're not sleeping, because you got so many things swirling around up there. And you're probably not talking to anybody about it, especially not talking to a professional. That can all change with BetterHelp.com. And with BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com makes it easy to get therapy, man. And the reason why is because, for one, it's entirely online. It's built for people's flexible schedules out there and built for their lifestyles and how they even feel about getting therapy. Let's say that you don't want to talk to somebody face to face, but you want to talk to somebody. Hey, you can talk to somebody on a video call, but you can also talk to somebody on a phone call too, if that makes it better for you. And let's just say you don't like who you're talking to right now. It does not give me what I need. Mm-hmm. You can always switch out that person for somebody else at no cost. Speaking about cost, it's affordable too. And as I said, therapy is for many things. Just whether it's something going on in your head you need to get out, relationship problems. Man, you got life goals and you're having trouble trying to focus. You'd be surprised at what you can go to therapy for, man. And it's also for some of the things I just mentioned too. But as I said, you see how convenient this is. And a lot of people endorse BetterHelp.com, including us. So this is a perfect place to start getting therapy. If you haven't had it before, this is the perfect place to start. And it's even more perfect because it's going to put you at ease a little bit. You go to BetterHelp.com/doubletoasted. You put that in there, you'll get 10% off your first month.
10%.
Yeah, oh boy, my head feels better already.
That's just what I need to hear.
Like I said, if you're looking like this man right here, you might need to talk to somebody. So go ahead, give BetterHelp.com a try. I want to thank BetterHelp for sponsoring this portion of the show, and I want to thank all of you out there for your support. Speaking of the performances, man, I really like the guy that plays Luffy, but I don't know. I love that guy, man. But I would say that there's some characters that are my favorite that I like better, and these are people that I would say, listen, if you're on the fence about this, you've been watching for about an episode or two, man, keep watching, because the thing with this is that it's formatted in a way, and what really keeps the drive going with this is that Luffy, in every episode, he's picking up new characters. Every episode introduces new characters.
Right.
And as much as I love Luffy, there were some performances in here that I thought made those characters my favorite. I really love Buggy, man.
I knew you were going to love Buggy.
Man, I love Buggy. It's an actor named Jeff Ward who plays Buggy, man. And I love that character. I know, and some people even saying, man, just even if you got to skip some episodes, go hang out with Buggy, man.
Well, Buggy's in the second episode, so you got.
Is he in the second episode?
Yeah.
I love Buggy, man.
Yeah. Jeff Ward.
Yeah.
He was a latecomer in the later seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
That's right. I read that.
Yeah. And he had a lot of personality there, but you didn't get you didn't know how much he was willing to throw himself in on comedy.
Oh,
he's really, it's funny to see him now made up. He's really a handsome guy. He looks like a cross between Bradley Cooper and Ben Stiller.
Oh yeah, I actually saw a picture of him, man. Here, I'll show you a picture of Jeff Ward. Martin's line. He really is a handsome guy. I'm like, damn, you want maybe. I don't know.
But to see him do this, I was like, man, he's really got those chops.
Yeah, here he is. There he's outside of the makeup right there. Very handsome guy. Look at that. Yeah, he throws himself into this role, man. I wish I had a clip of him. I don't, but trust us. I mean, Martin said it's the second episode, so yeah, man, just stick around and watch it for his performance. He is great. He's, like I said, he's one of my favorite characters, and he's a bad guy. And that's another thing with this. All of these pirates, they're like Street Fighter characters. They're just way over the top, man. That's why I said they're just outlandish characters, but they're fun. I thought that they were a lot of fun, man. But then you have some characters that are not as outlandish, that are not as exaggerated. Another one of my favorite characters was Admiral Garp, played by Vincent Reagan, man. And the reason why is because he's on the opposite end of that. He's loud, but he's one of the more subdued characters. He's one of the more dramatic characters, and he's not getting by on being cartoony like the other characters.
Sure.
You know who my favorite character is?
Who's that?
I don't know why, because this guy was just cool.
Oh, I know.
This guy was just smooth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Sanji, man.
Oh no, I wasn't thinking of Sanji.
Taz Skylar.
Okay, no, I was not thinking of Sanji.
So you didn't get to Sanji yet. Okay, so real cool story with Sanji. Sanji is a cook who's also a badass fighter. And he has a great backstory too. But he goes through the series cooking food for people. Somebody want to get out of hand, he turns around, beats the shit out of them too. But but he wears a suit the whole time, just sitting around, just smoking cigarettes, and and thinking he's a ladies' man, and he should because he's very handsome. Ladies don't like him like he thinks they do, so his ego's a little over the top too. But he's not a bad person.
Okay,
he was that I don't know why, but I love that character, and I think I love that character because he is trying to be a ladies' man, and by all means he should be, but they play him up for comedy too.
Okay,
I enjoyed the way that all the characters are introduced, especially for Luffy's crew, man. And I like the way he found each crew, and and this is 8 episodes. I think all 8 episodes are justified. And I need to thank God they didn't go to 12 or even 10.
Well, especially with a series that's this huge, it had me nervous. I was like, how many episodes is there? And then and then when I had to finally pause at the end of 3, it'd say oh, this is 3 of 8. I was like, only 8? I'm gonna come back and finish this.
Oh yeah, man. No, it's the 8 episodes are justified because they spend a lot of time, first of all, introducing a lot of characters, especially Luffy's crew, and who they always say to him, "We ain't a crew, we're just hanging out with you because we're either using you,
we're just riding you, helping you with your ship, and on adventures with you, but we ain't your crew."
Yeah, exactly. We just need a ride somewhere. But also, each episode, like I told you earlier, I think it's formatted pretty well. A lot of these episodes are like little mini movies, because a lot of them center either on they either center on a pirate a new pirate that they introduce and a pirate they have to defeat, and it's a self-encompassed story, or they introduce a new character of the crew, and then there'll be an episode dedicated to that background story.
I'm shocked because when watching the first episode, I was maybe a quarter of the way into it, and I was like, well, this is better than I expected, but it's just not for me. And then maybe a little, like halfway, a little bit more, I was like, I'm kind of into this. And by the time the episode ended, I was like, yeah, let me watch another one.
Yeah, I watched some of this in Atlanta, and I couldn't wait to watch another episode of this. I'm talking about the production, how nice it is. I like the costumes, like the characters. How true they stay into the anime with this. They have, I told you that now as the story goes along, they start shifting and centering more on some characters that we didn't see earlier. With this, they start, you never got to the fish man stuff.
No.
Fish people stuff. And I was cool with that because fish people are a big part of the anime. I remember some episodes I saw, they really are like second-class citizens. I remember in the anime, the Admiral's son, when he got, the fish people saved him from something. And they helped this dude out. And they were just kind of like, hey, man, just go back up there and tell people how cool we are. And this dude turned around and told them, why should I? You're just a bunch of stupid fish people. And I'm like, all right.
This is the same guy who's been a bitch the whole time?
I'm not sure. I was wondering that.
Okay.
Yeah, the Admiral's son is in the beginning episode. And I'm not sure if that's the same character or not. But the fish people and the fishman stuff here, they have production where, so with the Fishman, I showed you what they look like earlier. So, and it's very true to the anime. First of all, they listen to like hip hop, at least hip hop beats. They dress up like rappers,
Okay.
But as you can see, it's true to the anime.
Yeah.
But they also, their lair or their base is like a water park, and so you have a hard time looking at this and thinking, is this meant to look as fake as it does, or is this like unintentional? I don't know. That's the only part where I was like, okay, I don't know what to think about the production here.
Yeah.
But I'll give them the benefit of the doubt if they want to make it look that fake.
Okay.
And this whole world is a weird mixture of modern things and things that you would associate with the era of pirates, because they got like neon.
Yeah.
And they got, everybody's wearing Hawaiian shirts.
Right.
Yeah, so
it's their world. They can mix up time how they want.
Exactly. All of it doesn't work for me. And I'm not even saying that that it bothers me that much, because the goofy aesthetic of this, it only feels weird to me when they start to mix it in with more adult stuff. Like the more you go on with this, there's language, of course, but then there's violence, and they don't do this thing like you see in Marvel movies where they cut somebody, you don't see no blood. No, they bleed. Yeah. Somebody got the shit cut out of them, and they right across their chest, and they bleed. And they talk about how much they're bleeding.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they're bleeding bad. There's some serious dramatic parts in here. And, when you mix in the cartoony stuff with some of the more adult stuff, it starts to feel like it's clashing just a little bit sometimes, but it's probably because I'm just not used to it. Because I'll tell you something, because see, by the time you get to the 7th episode, it takes a heavy turn with the Fishman and the character of Nami, which is the girl in Luffy's crew. And the story gets really heavy. It gets really dark. And, and so they're trying to get really deep and heavy and dark and violent. But at the same time, I'm looking at some of the very cartoonish production on this, and it starts to feel like this show right here.
Do what you want, because a pirate is free. You are a pirate. Your heart being a pirate is a wretched thing. Do what you want.
Like, I ain't saying it's got that budget right there, but it got a little Lazy Town feel to it, man. It just got a little bit of Lazy Town feel to it, because did you see the snails?
Yeah.
So right down to like having puppets in here because they have an animatronic snail that they use. So in this world they use, and this is how much I do know because I looked this up a long time when I was watching the show.
Yeah.
They use telepathic snails to talk to each other.
Yeah, no, I caught that because I didn't just watch the first. Because initially I watched like the first episode of season 7. And I caught the snails, but then I later went back and watched episode 1. Like today, after I got done with the 3rd episode, I was like, let me watch episode 1. And I was like, yeah, okay. It's funny because to watch the anime, like the things that in this production, this Netflix production, that kind of bother me, like what you're saying. Then I watch the anime and I go, oh, so they really toned it down. To me, it was over the top, but they've toned it down a lot. This is probably the best they could do. But yeah, you're right. Those puppet snails.
Yeah, that's straight up puppets, man. So it's, it even has a children's show feel to it when it gets to something like that. So it just, for me, it's just it's a weird clash for me that I haven't really gotten used to yet. But let me just say this, because it's not a heavy criticism, because at the same time, I appreciate the boldness of them even doing that.
Right.
To mix the two. See, the thing is, since animation has become mainstream here, and there's adults that have grown up with it, I feel like we're now more accepting of the Japanese style of storytelling, especially with anime. And I also think that since we're becoming more accustomed and used to the anime style of storytelling, I think anime and what people are growing up with now, I think the way of telling a story with anime is breaking the rules of traditional Northern storytelling. I even think it's kind of challenging the way we tell stories. Because we look at this and say, you can't combine those two. Netflix, you can't.
Yeah, sure.
And that's the thing about it. Streaming is allowing for this because network televisions wouldn't take a chance with something like this.
Oh, absolutely.
And movie studios.
They don't want to take a chance.
No, we have a specific demographic. We can't mix these things together. It's too wild. It's too crazy. People are not going to know what to think. So I think I like that this whole rigid way we tell stories here is kind of being challenged with shows like this.
Sure. You're right. All the different things such as anime, so much of things that were geek culture have become mainstream now. Everybody's on it. And there's always been sci-fi TV shows, whether in syndication or not, that didn't have the budget to do things. But you get something like a Babylon 5 or I forget which one that use actual Jim Henson puppets as characters. And it's jarring at first, but people got into it and enjoyed the stories. So the more that happens, the more it's like, okay, this is what we're doing now. Yeah,
I like that other cultures now, we're more global. I like that other cultures are really challenging the way we tell stories here. And now we can do it because we have streaming studios that are willing to take that chance. I do wonder what the true fans of the anime think about certain characters.
Yeah,
because Roro Nora Zoro, this character right here, he's the swordsman on the show, though. He wants to be the greatest swordsman in the world. I don't know what I thought about the character yet. I like the actor, but it seems like the character's trying too hard to be somewhat edgy.
I don't know. I feel like that actor really sells it because he's to me the one who's cool. Because I love his whole play, and he's not invincible. And I like how he came in going like, y'all a bunch of idiots. I got something to do.
Yeah.
And then later he's like, nah, man, that Luffy kid, I'm sticking with him.
Yeah. To me, he was just a little bit one note because he never gets out of that mode of being quiet and edgy. And I like this character. I'm not saying he's a bad character at all. I know, but the reason I'm asking this, Usopp is, he's the one that's probably the most changed right here because they race changed him and everything. So I just wonder what fans felt about this character being changed this much right here. Again, this is not me giving any kind of criticism on either one of these characters, really. I guess I gave a little bit on Zoro, but I have no real problem with these characters. I just wonder what people thought about them, especially with Usopp, because I did like that character, man. But then again, people want it to be exactly like the manga or the anime. You kept everything the same. How come you couldn't do that? Oh, diversity hire.
Well, I did see somebody's comment, and they said something to the effect of if there was ever.
Oh, they said he was African, so he's not a race change. So I'm just looking at him.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm just looking. I'm just
South African?
I'm just looking at his light skin. I guess that's all. So they say no. He's a character of color or ethnic character. So there you go.
Well, I saw comments from people saying that if there was ever a show that that should have a diverse cast, it's this one.
And they do. You know, your lead character's he's Mexican. I don't know if Mexico's in this world, but he's Mexican. You know, you have an Asian character, you have a white girl, you have this, you know, a black kid right here. So yeah. And the author said that he's confirmed that he's black.
Okay.
They say. Okay. See, now that's
he needs to let the colorists know.
He's been out at sea for a long time, man, on the sun. But see, this is why
He'd be right in the sun.
he was. As you heard, look, does this all work for me 100%? Not really. I told you it clashes for me in tone for a little bit. But for the most part, I really like the show, man. I just appreciate how different this is. Even when it seems to clash with itself. I just see, we watch enough things today where everything is such the same.
Yes.
And some of the storytelling is no different from anything else. As I said, it's very predictable, but at the same time, it's just different in how daring they are to bring this to live action and not try to tone it down to make it, let's make this more realistic. You know, no, we're gonna make this just as batshit crazy as the source material. And I'm glad that they did that. And I think for fans out there, they made sure to keep you in mind first. And they went in and kept as much detail as they could from the manga. I would give this a high matinee just as far as entertainment value goes, because I was really enjoying it when I was watching. I just had a good time with it. And like I said, does it all work? No. But from an entertainment standpoint and just how, and just from a production standpoint,
sure,
maybe that's what I'm giving it credit for, because I just have fun watching this the whole time. From a production standpoint, because if you just asked me for story, it would be a matinee. But as far as like just as colorful as this is, and just as fun as it is to watch, and the characters are fun to hang out with, yeah, that's why I'm giving it, kind of boosting up to a high matinee. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Well, you didn't see the whole thing. But
I didn't see the whole thing, so I can only speak to the first 3 episodes, which I saw. But my sentiments echo yours almost to a T. Yeah, story-wise, it might be a rental for me, but with the production and everything else it's got going, and it's just the surprise element, that does push it up to a high matinee.
It's a lot of fun, man.
Yeah.
It really is. If you, I mean, I would say give it a chance and don't go in there with your mind to, trying to already be made up about this don't make sense. They should have done this. What the hell is that? No, just go in. You got to ride with this world.
Yeah.
Like you said, like Martin said, if you don't get, just. That's the way I look at it. I had a lot of fun with it, man. I can't wait for them to do a second season, because the characters get crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, that's sure. Like a skeleton dude and man. There's a lot of stuff that gets wild with this, man. Now see, I've been watching some of this like way down the line, and it's insane, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's but yeah, it's a lot of fun. Now let's switch gears here real quick, because I'm talking about how much I enjoyed this. I talked about how much I enjoyed this live action adaptation of One Piece. But at the same time, I enjoyed the live action adaptation of another Netflix show that was out there.
There's no happy ending here.
Spoken like a man who's never been in love.
Now that is Cowboy Bebop, another Netflix anime adaptation done to live action. And I'm not, when I ask this question now, I'm not coming in here trying to make this like a thinly veiled criticism of people who didn't like the show, because as we all know, while One Piece is very successful at this point with viewers overall, but especially the fans, Cowboy Bebop was not, to the point where Netflix said, we ain't making this shit no more.
Right.
This was not so well received by the critics. And it definitely wasn't well received by the fans. And I'm just looking at this now. Martin and I, if you don't mind me speaking for you, Martin and I are the few people that said we had no problem with people not liking it, but can't lie, I enjoyed it.
I liked it a lot. By the time it was done, yeah, I was fully on board with it.
I'm just really wondering, what is it that One Piece did that was so successful that Cowboy Bebop didn't? And I might even have, even though I enjoyed this, I might even have some theories myself or some ideas myself on why this didn't work as well. And but I'll ask you.
My theory on
what do you think?
Well, because they got like on the positive side, they got a lot of the same things going on. They built their own world. The characters are close. I mean, as a matter of fact, that the actors really bring it to life. It's got its changes, but they're lateral moves. As a matter of fact, it was kind of, for a little bit doing its own thing, so it wouldn't be such a direct copy. And it's got the movement and all the elements that should make it just as popular.
Even I would say the two even have sort of the same tone.
They do, very much so. I can only think that it's the tone of the source material, whereas One Piece is, it sounds like a pejorative to say childish, but it is a bit more childish, fun, goofy, whereas Cowboy Bebop, not so much. It was more mature, dark. And so, the expectation of something on that level, it's just that's where the difference is that, people saw that. I think people with Cowboy Bebop, they really had more specific in mind what they wanted. And because it was more realistic, there was more that they wanted it to adhere to without giving it leeway to do other things. And like you see that opening, like you didn't get a lot that had that exact feel.
Yeah, but you know what? That's why I asked you, because that was my answer there. And and when I was thinking about the answer to this, I wouldn't even say childish. I would say that when you watch One Piece is way more whimsical.
Whimsical. There you go.
One Piece is way more whimsical in his storytelling. It's way more cartoonish in his art style and animation. As you can see right here, even the opening, everything is very bouncy.
Yeah.
All the characters are way more exaggerated and caricature looking and cartoonish looking. Where with Cowboy Bebop, like you said, this is more edgier. This was a little bit darker, and it had its moments where there's even a character in there that looks like Luffy a little bit. But yeah, this was just a little more, I guess, darker and serious storytelling.
Yeah,
I think it had some cool moments in there, but I don't think that people liked how goofy that show got.
Yeah,
and it was goofier than the anime.
Well, it seemed like it was goofier when it started, and less so toward the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, from the first couple episodes, it was goofier, and I could see people going like, that's not it at all.
Yeah, and even looking at the show compared to the storytelling of One Piece, I think that One Piece, the live action version, I was telling you how they're able to keep the pace going by compartmentalizing parts of the story to fit the 8 episodes. I think, like I said, these are little mini movies. They do a great job at like giving each character or certain characters their own dedicated episode. I think that it makes it easier to follow, because this is way more, maybe complicated is the wrong word, but there's a lot more going on with One Piece than there's with Cowboy Bebop. But I think Cowboy Bebop, the show, I don't think that, because even when I was watching, I said some of these stories are getting a little convoluted. I could see people seeing it and thinking like, okay, I don't know where that came from. I don't know what this means here. I think that it was just not as easy to digest as One Piece for some people out there. And maybe that is part of the lighter tone with One Piece also that makes it be that way. I think also, I just think the characters in One Piece are a lot more fun. So anybody can come into this and watch this, and these characters were actually they're more fun to hang out with than the ones in Cowboy Bebop. And then being like a live action cartoons, they're just funnier, So people, it's easier for people to get a laugh than to sit there and try to take something a little more serious or dark, So yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
No, that all sounds plausible. With Bebop, there's certainly. People were not happy that John Cho, they finally got an Asian actor, but they're like, yeah, he's too old. And then Daniela Pineda was her Faye Valentine was different. I liked her take on it, that it was something different, but you know how fans can be.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't know. But you know what? But you also have to consider that after Cowboy Bebop came and it wasn't what people wanted, they were angry, that made it easier for One Piece.
Oh, yeah.
Because then people go like, well, at least it's not Bebop.
Yeah, that is true. They were saying that the creator of Cowboy Bebop made it known that he hated the Netflix version. So putting that out there could maybe influence people's opinion too.
That usually does, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat, what they say right here. Chat, if you, some people are saying, I like that Cowboy Bebop was different, but what do you think? I'll read some of your comments right here. I'm kind of curious to see what people think. And this is from Disney is Awesome, who is the person that said that the creator of Cowboy Bebop hated the Netflix adaptation. But they say here, hey, Corey, a major reason the One Piece Netflix series turned actually decent is because Oda, the manga creator, was very, very, very involved with the show's entire production. He even took a break from writing the original manga just to make sure the show was done right, even requesting reshoots to make sure that it's done to his approval, alongside personally picking the show's actors.
No.
So being very hands-on is probably something that made it that way too.
Yeah.